You guys, welcome to our Thursday night product call. And then usually after this on Thursday nights, we do a leadership development call. So tonight with me on this call, on this webinar, I have my amazing better half. That's true, because she is. She's shaking her head. But if you guys don't know who we are, I'm Michael Huey, and this is Lisa Huey. We are Pro 7s in LifeVantage, and we've been in LifeVantage for 7 years. It's been a long time, and I would say that we're more excited now than we ever have been for the opportunity. And I shared a couple things, and I won't share too much of that tonight because we're here to talk about the product. But I shared this with several friends of mine about the magnitude of the medical professionals that have came into our organization and into our company. And last night, there was a lot of technical difficulties with it, but Dr. Mark Gordon, who's a well-known cardiologist, and Dr. Gandhi, who is a top cardiologist in the world, actually, and top 50 in the world. And
Sweet.
So just these are the type of people that we're attracting with this information. But tonight, we want to focus on the products. We want to for you, so that you can be educated, so that when you sit down with somebody, you know how to educate them. Maybe you are a customer tonight and you don't know anything, but maybe Pro Tandem, right? A potential customer, right?
Live or replay.
Exactly. You can get a lot of information tonight, and we are. I'm going to say we. She would say I am, but we are the founders and CEO. I'm the CEO. I really think she's a co-CEO, but that's okay. Let's just say she's the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, because she's the one that's the bone, the backbone and brains. I get of Hefluence, which is a men's health, wellness, and coaching business. We help men walk in and towards their purpose in health, relationships, and business. And as my wife would say, we think that if the man is striving in life, that his relationships with his spouse and his kids are better too, and they're thriving. And so my wife, you can see her here and there on the screen. I was in the fitness industry. She was in the nursing industry for 28 years. Wow, she just retired it's going on 3 weeks now, right?
Yep, 3 weeks ago.
Going on 3 weeks ago. To be home doing LifeVantage full time.
Actually, I traded a full-time job for about a job and a half.
She's fibbing.
No, I'm not.
But this past year, Lisa and I attended an event called Thrive, which I usually have a hat on tonight, but I don't have a hat on tonight.
I like it.
Cool.
I like it.
And we applied to be a part of a mastermind. Most of you may be like, "What's a?"
Yes, okay. Yes. Sorry, I just didn't see it.
Yeah, it's always.
Okay,
it'll say over here too.
Perfect. Sorry.
So we applied to be a part of a mastermind, which there was about 400 or 500 people that interviewed for about 20 spots in this mastermind. It was rated #1 by Forbes magazine, and we were able to get in as entrepreneurs, and that was a big, big thing for us. It has literally changed our world. It's made us have phenomenal connections. Getting ready to start a podcast. I went to Ohio State. Honey, you want to talk about where you went to school at? I don't even know. You want to?
I went to a junior college, got a 2-year RN associate degree in nursing up in the Chicago area called William Rainey Harper. And then almost 10 years later, I completed my BSN through St. Xavier University, again, up in the Chicago area. My entire background has been open heart surgery, cardiac care, etc. So anyways, I did intraoperative as well as the post-open heart recovery, and then like pre-anesthesia testing and teaching department.
Awesome.
That's where I retired from. And apparently it is true. They say that PAT is the department nurses go to retire.
That's funny. And then another person retired shortly after you did.
Yeah.
Right. And so the last picture down there in the corner is a list. That's probably Lisa's mouth right there, because she used to hate.
I don't have a big mouth like that.
Well, you used to hate the supplements because we used to take like so many of them, and now we don't. Like, we still have them in our cabinets just because they're where we should get rid of them. Yeah, they're probably no good anymore anyway, but we just kind of use it as a reminder of that we don't have to do that anymore. There's no more guessing game. And I think by the time we get done with this, you guys will see that. You'll be able to understand that and understand kind of this term biohacking. So I'm going to let Lisa read this first term of biohacking, and then I'm going to read the second one and kind of talk a little bit more about it. So why don't you tell people what biohacking stands for?
All right, so biohacking is one of the biggest buzzwords, so to speak, right now in the health and wellness community. And it is the art of hacking into your own biology, using nature's built-in mechanisms to stack the cards in your favor to become the best version of yourself, maximizing your biological potential, basically altering your DNA expression.
Yeah, that's
powerful.
And you know, it's funny. This other one is one that my dad really likes because he says that his definition of this is that you don't have to struggle with the same things I struggle with. And I could go into days about, my dad. I want you guys to remember that there's no placebo effect in the information that we're sharing with you guys tonight. It's all based on our blood, on our oxidation levels in our blood, our mitochondria, everything at the cellular level. So there's no placebo effect. We're not in competition with other nutritional companies. I say this all the time, like I'm using a microphone to do things with now. I never used a microphone before. We use a cell phone to do everything now. It's pretty much a disruptive technology. When Lisa and I were growing up, we carried beepers, and we went to the payphones and put a quarter in it, right? So this other definition, it says the perspective of biohacking is that you can hack into your own biology and you can control systems in your body that you would never have had access to. So systems that we were guessing with supplements, we were never able to take care of that. And I love this. My friend Brett Brimhall, I just cleaned this up.
Dr. Brett Brimhall.
Yeah, Dr. Brett Brimhall. I just cleaned this up this week, actually today. Found a new cleaned up slide and stuff, and it says, hijacked by oxidative stress. Instead, you should start biohacking. And so we're going to teach you about oxidative stress now and how it's at the very center of every disease. And then here's a real better explanation of it. Biohacking is optimizing your genetic potential, becoming the best version of yourself. You're able to monitor things that are going on inside your body better. You're able to maximize cellular protection, cellular health. You're able to maximize what's going on inside your body. You're able to utilize systems that you were never able to utilize before. And you're able to, what Lisa and I probably relate with this last thing the most. Lisa's 50, I'll be 50 this year.
Stop telling people my age.
Easy. Yeah, look at her, right? Look at her, right? Like,
anyway,
whatever. We get to optimize our health. And I think that never before could I've ever said that in my 27-year career as a nutritionist, that we can actually, optimize our health. And then hijacking, why don't you talk a little bit about hijacking?
Hijacking is just like what you think of. Planes get hijacked, unfortunately. It's taking something over, using it for a different purpose than it was intended to be used for. Physically, emotionally, biochemically, toxins, electromagnetics, our cell phones, things like that, allergies, the environment. Those are the things that actually hijack our body and alter the way that they're functioning. So they function in a not good way, versus biohacking is taking back that control and having them work the way they were supposed to work in the first place.
And when we talk about those two things, I Dr. Brenhall put this picture and sent it to me. And so we kind of went through these things and kind of mapped out a presentation for you guys. And this is kind of like our health. Like we have the sleep problems. We try to decide which bed to sleep on, which water to drink, caffeine, no caffeine, ketogenic diet, paleo diet, vegan diet, low in fat, high in fiber, nutritionist, doctor, dietitian. So I believe this term nutrigenomics takes the guessing out. And so nutrigenomics is a branch of nutritional genomics and is the study of the effects of foods and food constituents on gene expression, like you heard Lisa talk about earlier. This means that nutrigenomics is the research focusing on identifying and understanding molecular level interaction between these foods, nutrients, and other dietary bioactives that actually don't bind us to our DNA anymore.
Woohoo!
You know, it goes back to like what my dad said. We no longer have to be bound to the things that our great grandparents and our grandparents are.
Everybody's familiar with the expression being genetically predisposed to certain disease processes and illnesses, right? It's kind of linked in our DNA and it gets passed on generation to generation. However, once we start to biohack that gene expression through nutrigenomics, we no longer have to carry that predisposition label with, diseases.
So this is a study done at Washington State University in 2015. And honey, why don't you read to them just and just remember, we didn't say this. LifeVantage didn't say this. Washington State said this about this technology.
They described it as being on the verge of a new literature on health effects of NRF2, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. I mean, those are powerful words. Yeah. Not just extraordinary, but therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine.
And you know what's really cool about that is how early we are at hearing this information. Mm-hmm. They just had the second annual NRF2 World Conference.
Yeah, right?
Second annual.
And we've been involved in knowing about it for 7 years.
Yeah. So you see how it's always good to be first. Yeah. We're first. So let's talk about the 4 pillars. It's really funny. Lisa talks about this in several of her hacks, we'll call them, right? But we believe there's 4 pillars to your health. The nuclear respiratory factor 1, regulating growth in nuclear genes required for respiration and heme biosynthesis, and mitochondrial DNA transcription. Long and short of it,
powerhouse of the cell.
Create, and we'll go more into that, creating mitochondria and repairing mitochondria, both.
Which is what controls our energy or lack thereof.
And our cellular energy too, which is even better. And then what we were talking about earlier is nuclear erythroid factor derived 2, right? Short for NRF2.
Long for NRF2.
Regulates expression of antioxidant proteins that protect against oxidant damage triggered by injury and inflammation. And guys, think about this. Exercise causes inflammation and oxidative stress. And never before till this technology was there a way to slow this down. And what's really cool is that now we can slow that down to the levels of a very young child as we age. And even you guys will see some of that research as we go through this. And then what we believe is the second brain is your gut and probiotics and prebiotics, changing the environment, digestion, assimilation, and protection. Lisa and I have found some amazing, amazing research recently that there's some things in the works that we can't talk about right now, but just about being able to control our gut biome and what that is. And there's a couple slides later, I'll show you guys about that, about what that means. And then essential fatty acids.
Well, back to the pre and probiotics though, with our gut being our second brain, we're not the only ones who believe that. That's what we felt. And then we started to really dig into the research, only to discover that other physicians throughout the world really are actually calling our gut, our GI tract, the second brain, because all sorts of things begin there. We'll get into a little more detail.
Why don't you talk a little bit about essential fatty acids in that?
So fatty acids, the essential fatty acids is what changes the communication of the cells. It's our cellular communication and protection. The omegas, omega-3, omega-7. Everybody's very familiar with the fact of their importance on cardiac protection for heart disease, right? But not as many people have come to really realize the importance and the effectiveness of the omegas for our brain function and our brain health.
And just think about it. It's written over here on the left side of the screen, biohacking communication.
It's communication.
It's going through the blood-brain barrier. And you'll see some really cool things. And so
it's how
here they are.
It's expressed, communicating the way the genes are being expressed or not expressed.
Here's those 4 pillars. Without one, you got an unbalanced pillar, right? Right. So
the square becomes a triangle.
Right. So we talked about this. We showed you that big pill, a big spoon of pills, supplementation over activation, supplementation, guessing. For me, I did it for years. Lack of science, lack of quality and control, and we never found out that it did anything for cellular health. And now through this activation. And why don't you tell why activation is so much more significant than what the old supplementation is?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So activating is just like it says, it activates, turns on basically what's going on in our genes and at the DNA level. It's the newest science that's out there. It's the biggest thing. It's got the peer-reviewed studies. So therefore it is research-based. It is validated. Exactly.
23 and 3 more coming.
Exactly. As opposed to that guessing game. And we're not saying that there's anything specifically bad or harmful about traditional supplementation with their vitamins. But it's a guessing game. There's no FDA regulation on things like supplements as far as, the exact amounts that are written on bottles. Believe it or not, they may or may not be correct, because that stuff is a vitamin or a supplement does not need an FDA regulation for quality control in that particular aspect.
Well, think about like this when you're talking like that, because that makes a big point for me and you both, because we've always been used to taking supplements. There was no patents.
No.
There was nothing. It was all exogenous. So we took it, and usually when we went to the bathroom, the majority of it was there. And now we can take it exogenously, and it works endogenously, which is a million times. In the next slide we'll talk about the synergy.
Which means you take it, the exogenous working means you take it, it goes in your body, it gets metabolized, whatever. It has an external impact on our cells, versus when you take something orally and it has an endogenous impact on our cells. It goes into the cells themselves and it actually works there.
Yeah, and then that's what Protandim is. Protandim is our NRF2 activator, the most potent NRF2 activator in the world. Been proven to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, and you've seen it. Lisa basically said this. This is the explanation of supplementation over activation. Produces, neutralizes 1 million free radicals, instead of like an exogenous form where it eliminates one.
That's 1 million per second,
per hour, per day.
Exactly.
Well,
not a 1-to-1 with our vitamin C or acai berries. They are good, but they'll only take care of basically one free radical. That free radical is what's banging against those cells and damaging them.
Yeah, from the outside and inside.
Exactly.
And you remember, on those of you who may have, and I pray that if you haven't, you'll watch it, the ABC Primetime. And there was an extended version of it, and they had Montel Williams on there. And he struggled with MS all his life. And he just said, look, I just looked at the science. I would have to take 365 oranges in one day or one pill. Sold.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So here's the synergy, okay? This is a really cool thing, and I'll use this example because I like to use this. I've had people say, oh, I can make Protandim. Oh, I can take the ingredients separately and put them together and do whatever. No. I can lay Lisa here on a table or these chairs or on this platform, and I can put chocolate chips and flour and milk and an egg in her mouth and squash it around, but it's not going to be a cookie, right?
No.
So you can see that, these ingredients make it 1,800% more effective in this formulation than if you took the ingredients separately.
Yeah. And if you really pay close attention to the slide here, actually, some of these ingredients in and of themselves have a negative effect. If you look at it, such as curcumin or turmeric. Turmeric is great, but in and of itself, it actually has more of a negative type of effect on our cells and everything.
Cells, yeah, cells, yeah. So here is what Lisa was talking about earlier about mitochondria. I like this little picture. It's got the guy with his little, muscles there. Energy powerhouse. Produces cellular energy, adenosine triphosphate, maintains glutathione levels. It's glutathione is what causes autism and ADD and ADHD.
The lack thereof.
Lack of.
People who have gout are associated with extremely low glutathione levels. And glutathione is called, in the medical journals, the mother of all antioxidants.
Yeah.
Endogenous, our own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So the mitochondria is what actually activates the cell growth. I can never say that word, even in nursing school.
Autosis.
Yeah. So it maintains the cell's electrical chemical integrity. It protects the cell. It protects its expression. It helps to repair as well as replenish. And that's huge.
Big. Two whammies. So, and then here it is.
1-2 punch.
Yeah, and here it is. Same thing. We won't go through that again, but that's what it looks like. And then now a third piece of this is what we call the microbiome. And just look at this.
Which is a fancy word for our gut.
Yeah. So according to the Department of Chemistry and that the human microbiota consists of 10 to 10 trillion
10 to 100 trillion.
10 to 100 trillion symbiotic microbial cells harbored by each person, primary bacteria in the gut, more than our cells, normal cells. The human microbiome consists of the genes that cells harbor, okay? And then just look at the gut connection. Leaky gut
brain.
Affects the entire body, thyroid, the colon, your adrenals, rheumatoid arthritis. And just look at this. 90% of all diseases can be traced in some way back to the gut and the health. So why don't you go on and read there?
Yeah. You know, the microbiome is what's home to trillions of microbes, diverse organisms that govern nearly every function of the human body in some way, shape, or form. It's what I was talking about earlier. Poor gut health can contribute to, like he was just saying, the leaky gut syndrome, autoimmune diseases, things like the arthritis, all the inflammatory diseases,
heart disease,
dementia, heart disease, cardiac disease, cancer, our health, fertility even,
longevity.
You know, the longevity of life. We need to make sure that our GI tract and all those bacterium that are supposed to be in there are in there in the right quantities and the right amounts, and that we don't have excess or mutations of that bacteria, which is what affects how our gut is. And when our gut is out of balance, everything else goes.
And so being a nutritionist, I studied probiotics for years, and I think that Lisa and I kind of thought we had the best one. Megaspore, it should be a spore biotic no matter what. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. It shouldn't be capsulated. And we found out that that LifeVantage came out with one that was better. And so we switched, and even the little bit of stuff like I haven't taken a Tums in several years now just because we don't have to. And a lot of people still take that stuff even when they're taking probiotics because only about 4% of the probiotics and prebiotics get through the small and large intestines.
Okay? Right, they have a tendency to just get killed up in the stomach acids.
Eaten up.
So they don't get to the area they need to be in to work to bring all of our microbiome back into balance.
Yeah, and this pre and probiotic formulation is time released. 30 minutes, 2 hours, 6 hours. You guys can see how that works.
Right. That BioTrack technology keeps it coated, and so that way it does survive that stomach acid. So then it gets into the GI tract, and in certain dosages, you know, that time release system, it goes through and it releases it so that it can work and it'll be a steady stream as opposed to an up and a down, a peak and a valley. And the other thing with the and prebiotics is it contains this ingredient called Wellmune. Wellmune is clinically proven to improve the immunity of our health. It maintains the overall physical health, protects against stresses of the effects of stress in the environment. It promotes healthy energy levels and mental clarity. Now, who doesn't want mental clarity?
Allergies. Somebody's phone. Hello? Just kidding. Is that you, Jenny?
Hello? Hi.
Mute. Oh, you guys got to mute your phones when you come on. Okay,
right.
so here's a couple of things. We don't need to go over this anymore, but this is where your gut integrity tells you about a little bit about the probiotics. This is just a confirmation of it. And I wanted to read this today because I want you guys to understand that this is, I have several of these. And this was given to me by a doctor friend of mine. It says, my daughter is a vivacious 15-year-old who's diagnosed with severe autism, been working with biomedical options, specialized diets for years. She's been some progress, but anxiety and mysterious body pain has kept her from moving forward. 2 months ago, I'd been using probiotics formulation from LifeVantage as recommended by Dr. Huey. As first, there was not a marked difference, but in the past week, there's been unprompted language, longer sentences, use of new words, labeling of animals, happy demeanor, less fear, and a more desire to be affectionate. Just imagine if your mom and your kid isn't affectionate with you. My daughter usually cannot tolerate much touch, but lately she's been coming to me for hugs and hand kisses, and nothing is sweeter than a kiss from a child.
Right.
She's also surprised me by answering comments from me that I would never expected before. For example, started to make some pancakes without assistance on her own, poured way too much flour in the bowl and said, I said, oh, that's too much. And she said, Mom, it's better with more. I mean, can you think about it like that? She said, I was stunned and laughed. Then we both laughed nervously as we watched an egg that accidentally slipped out of my hand and rolled across the counter and onto the stove without breaking. She was in the moment with me and shared a laugh. This might seem small to others, but this is a big deal. I know that a good probiotic is essential for that spectrum, and I've used many, and I do mean different kinds over the years. But never had a response like this. And she actually said in person that she'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this. And so then the last pillar is the omega. Combined with DHA and EPA, essential 3 fatty acids, omega-7s, vitamin D3, which is, we were hoping that we could ever find one. We were at a conference a couple weeks ago, and there was other groups of people, of nutrition companies that had probiotics and omegas, and they said all of them smell. Ours doesn't smell. You can chew them. They taste lemon and lime flavored. They know because they come from boat to bottle. We know where they come from 2 sources you can see there. And just read what this says. It says your brain, heart, and muscles need all the support they can get. But sometimes the diet just doesn't cut it.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, and then here's what it is. I told you guys, lemon lime flavor, rich in EPA and DHA. Great for your skin and your immune system, supports cognitive function and major benefits. And so here, this is the Vitality Stack, guys. This is what it is. 4 pillars of health, free shipping, get with the person. We've had massive people go from just taking Protandim to taking all of the Vitality Stack just in the last 90 days just from doing these. So let's go into the next one. And then let's start talking about just a little bit about our other products. This last 5 minutes or so, we'll just talk about our other products. So why don't you talk about brain fog, babe? Because you love this product. I'm just kidding. I love it more than she does. But.
Yeah, you do. Brain fog, that feeling of, confusion, or just can't concentrate, just can't focus.
I'm never like that person in the
plain
picture.
and simply stinks. Yeah, right. So how do you deal with it? Axio. Axio is an amazing brain fuel, boosting energy, physical as well as mental energy, reducing fatigue, no crashes, no jitters, increased concentration.
Decaf and caffeinated.
Yes, there's a caffeinated as well as a decaf brain formula, I should say. Obviously, the decaf formula works just as well as far as the brain clarity goes. It just doesn't have that little additional physical kick that somebody who might be, going out on a long run might want, or whatever.
And so this is of a 9-year-old after a week of Protandim Nerve 2 and Axio. You can see the writing on the right. We see tons of these. I think this is a really good indication. You can see the writing on the right is perfect. And this is what happens, guys, all the time on a regular basis. So you can go on to the next one. So here's the rest of our biohacking products, all patented. Our patented skincare, our pet tandem. One of our best friends who's actually going to spend a week with Lisa's family up in Chicago to help them with their dogs. My friend Ben Davidson is now, we're getting ready to blast it out with these doctors, with these vets. And Ben has been recognized as one of the top dog trainers in the United States now. So we're going to biohack dogs. Remember, what's really great is
dogs
Ben
7 times
yeah,
the oxidative stress.
but there's no placebo effect in dogs.
No.
Dogs can't say, oh, my back hurts. Oh, it doesn't hurt anymore, right? So it's great because we see massive positive results. And here's our skincare. These are local people here that Lisa and I have actually had the opportunity of being around and knowing. You can see the psoriasis, the skin rashes. This is a patented formula.
The entire system,
the
not
whole
just
system,
one product or
not the ingredients. All 4 of those products. There's 3 published peer-reviewed studies on it that you guys can go and read on your own also. So I got into an accident about 2 years ago, and my wife is shaking her head.
A little bit more than 2 years.
Has it been? No.
That's not the date on you.
3/31. Yeah, it is. This is the same date. This is the same identical date, babe.
Yeah.
It was 2017. It was just, my accident was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But this is when I really started. And I look even better than that now, which is kind of cool because we'll have some more pictures coming after that. But this is my friend Tommy. You can see he still looks like that. I just talked to him the other day. He's been posting some pictures. But He struggled with the same type of things I said, adrenal fatigue. We switched over to our cleanse, which you should do a cleanse on a regular basis. If you're not, start. It's very inexpensive. It's worth it.
It's a gentle cleanse.
Yeah, you're not on the toilet all the time. And then this is the last 2 slides. I like this because it says Lena lives to 97, Bert lives to 93, and they have 10 children. And you can just look at the sickness and disease, and 3 are still living. Many have died. Some have had infancy deaths. But just tell them a little bit about what this article says here from Time Magazine and why it's so important.
Yeah, exactly. Time Magazine and their research and researchers, they basically validated everything that we've been able to say about investing in your health for a longer, healthier lifestyle. But what you are, quote unquote, predispositioned to as far as your genes goes does not have to happen. And it says it right there on the cover, why your DNA isn't your destiny. The new science of epigenetics reveals how the choices you make can change your genes and those of your kids. I personally think that probably should say can change your gene expression.
But that's the difference. But honey,
exactly
epigenetics is the same. It's a new science. Epigenetics is.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. They sort of lacked the gene expression
because they don't know. They don't know what we know.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So then we just finished up with it. You guys see it now. It's activation over supplementation, right? You guys already know. We've told you kind of basically what that is. And so, friends, thank you so much for joining us tonight on this webinar. I am going to stop the recording.